Social media is the easiest way to promote your music for free. After all, you can get free discovery, you can build community, you can build value in an audience and therefore build a brand in order to monetize and tell the world who you are and what you're doing. The problem is this only tells half a story. Now, I don't want to shit on anyone's advice, but today on TikTok, I saw 3 separate posts with people doing this challenge, which is post 3 times a day for 30 days, and you are guaranteed to see results. Well, here's my problem. That's utter shit. It's nonsense because there's no strategy, there's no how-to, there's no evolution. That is just post more and you will see results. Well, think of it like this. Imagine if I was going to take on Mike Tyson in a boxing match. How many times do I need to throw a punch to knock out Mike Tyson? The answer is, it doesn't matter. Infinite. I'm never ever going to be able to punch Mike Tyson and knock him out. The chances of me hitting him, incredibly slim. The chances of me knocking him out, non-existent. The guy's been a boxer since he was like tiny and I don't box. So therefore, I can throw as many punches as I want. Does that mean I'm going to get the job done? No. So therefore, if I were to go into a fight, into a boxing match with Mike Tyson, which I wouldn't, it'd be a dumb thing to do, but if I was, what do I need to concentrate is not how do I throw millions of punches, it's hang on, how do I set up the punch? How do I throw an effective punch? We're looking at the how-to. We're evolving me as a boxer in order to have any chance at all of me going into a fight with a professional boxer. Now, it's the same thing with social media. You can post 3 times a day. Hey, you can post 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 times a day. But if you're doing the same thing, if you're not learning about how to post good content, how to wrap up your music and your brand into your social media in order to build and look after an audience, then all you're doing is you are wasting energy in trying to post more and more. So, today, I want to look at 3 reasons why you should post on social media, and then I want to look at 10 tips that you can do today to improve your content and start to make a difference, not 3 times a day, but with just 3 times a week. Now, most people are making content to promote music. Now, already we've got a problem because that is very transactional. It's very sterile. It's very one-dimensional. You're trying to build a movement. You're trying to build a community. Whereas if the outcome is just listen to my music, well, we've got the wrong end of the stick right from the get-go. So the reasons to make social media content are threefold. And number 1 is so that you can learn. You make content to get better at content, but that's only going to happen if you're analyzing what you're doing, if you're researching, if you're studying, if you're figuring out what's working and what isn't working. If you're not doing that, then you're just going to be on this rat race, making content for the sake of content. And then you're feeding worse data into the platform, making it even harder for yourself to go and get big numbers off the back of the crap data that you've already put into your social media content. So we need to experiment and probably even keep a journal. What are you doing? What is working? What isn't working? And what can you try different? We need to look at the location, what you're wearing, what music, what part of the song, what hooks, what SEO, anything that we can do to say, I'm going to try these different things to see what's working, because once I can figure out what's working, then I can scale. The second reason is to make content featuring your music and your talent in order to promote you. So many artists are using the music as the superhero, saying, my music's the most important, I am not important enough. It's the wrong message. What we've got to do is we've got to say, no, I've got to use the music and my talent to promote me. I'm the superhero. The music is my superpower. The talent is my superpower. But the music and the talent, those superpowers, they make up the superhero. Now, you get to choose the type of content that you make, whether it's mimed music videos, whether it's live performances, but it needs to feature your superpowers. Otherwise, why would we have a new Superman film and we just go, yeah, he's just Clark Kent. He doesn't really use the superpowers. Well, I'm not interested. I want him zipping around the galaxy. I want him doing all the cool stuff because he's a superhero. It's the same thing. If you can do this, if you have the superpowers, use them, and therefore they need to be in pretty much every single post that you are putting out on TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, or YouTube. And number 3, you are making content to tell stories. You are, by your very nature, a storyteller. Yes, you are a creative. Yes, you're an artist. Yes, you're a musician, but you are a storyteller. The way that you structure your lyrics, your subject matter, you are touching people on an emotional level, whether it's happiness or angry or sad. It's doing that where you are connecting with people off the back of your storytelling. And so your social media is no different. We need to be able to tell stories. A good song is no different from a good picture, which is no different from a good video. We're in the communication game. So therefore, we need to make people feel emotionally connected to us on a level. And the way we do that is through our storytelling. Now, those are the three overarching reasons we make social media. It isn't just to promote the music. That just belittles the entire process and it belittles our audience. But once we understand that, how can we make a difference today? How can we start to improve your social media content so that it does promote you, so it does promote your music? Well, here's 10 tips that I think can help you starting now. Number one, concentrate on the creation of social media content and not the posting of social media content. It's only a subtle difference, but too many artists and too many creatives are saying, oh, I know, I hate socials, but I know I've got to post. Well, we're already focusing on the wrong thing. We're not concentrating on making something really, really good that's going to speak to people. We're just saying, no, I'm following a schedule. I know I've got to post. Well, chances are, if you're doing that, you're probably not going to put out good social media content because you're concentrating on the wrong thing. Now, if you're allocating time and putting research in and creating a plan in order to create something that you are proud of, now the posting doesn't matter. Of course you're going to post it. You're going to want people to see this thing that you've created because you are proud of it. However, if you're going, oh, Damian's telling me I need to post, oh, I'll just take a selfie. Who is that helping? It's not helping the algorithm. It's not helping the people. It's not helping you. All it is just fulfilling this criteria of I need to post. So if I were you, I would allocate a couple of hours a week in the diary to say, hey, Tuesday nights, that's when we're going to go and make social media content. And I don't need to do what Damian says and create 40 posts in an hour and a half. I can just create 3 posts or 4 posts as long as they are really good. If I'm going somewhere and wearing the right thing and doing something interesting and telling a good story, then that is a powerful piece of content. If you are trying to make 30 pieces of content in 30 minutes, chances are they're probably going to be 30 average pieces of content. Number 2 is finding the treasure, not blindly following what everyone else is doing. Now, this is the number one thing that I start doing when I start working with a new artist. I want to figure out, what are your skill sets? What are you good at? What are you comfortable with? Because there might be some trends going on. There might be certain people on TikTok or Instagram who are doing a specific thing that's working really well. Does that mean it's necessarily going to work for you? No, because we're all different. We have different values. We have different emotions. We have different genres. We have different music. We have different personalities. Everyone is different. So while some artists are quite comfortable talking to camera because it feels quite YouTubey, what's up guys, how you doing? Other artists never ever want to speak on camera. And some artists love performing live, whereas some artists are really good in the studio and have a good studio voice, but they're probably not great at singing live. So therefore, why force it? Why don't we find the thing that you're really good at, find your treasure, and then we can scale it. Number 3, and possibly the most important part of this entire list, is context. I hear all the time, content is king, content is king. Okay, fair enough. But if content is king, context is the kingdom. And without your kingdom, what's the point having a king? Context is everything. Now, you've got to think of it psychologically from the point of view of the person on the other end of the screen. They are scrolling through 5, 10, 15, 20 pieces of content before they get to you. And they might have just seen a puppy. They might have seen a cyclist falling off a bike or a road rage incident, a Karen. And then all of a sudden, there you are. And at which point, the first thing they think is, why are you in front of me? I understand the puppy. I just go, oh, it's a puppy. I get it. I understand the Karen. I'm like, this is going to be funny. It's a Karen. I get it. I understand the cyclist falling off a bike. I get it. But then you pop up and I'm like, why are you in front of me? What is it that you are providing me in value? And I am one swipe away from you leaving. So therefore, we have to get that context. Now, I think this is where the majority of artists creating content fall down, because artists understand where they are at with the process. They understand the fact that they've been in the studio and it's a new song and who they are as an artist, but they're not thinking it from the point of view of someone seeing you for the very first time. Now, there's many ways of adding in context, whether it's what you're doing, where you are, what props you've got, what's on the screen, what stories you're telling. Whilst there's lots of ways of doing that, it needs to be within the first second. I need to say, okay, I understand why you're in front of me. Why should I stay? That is what context is. Now, a really simple way of doing this is just to add a piece of text on the screen. For example, if you've written a song about a relationship which has gone wrong and you say, hey, send this to an ex. Now, maybe you'll think that's cheesy, but at least people understand what is in front of them. They're going, okay, this is probably going to be a song about an ex. Now I need to listen to it to figure out whether I resonate, whether I relate, and whether I do want to send this across. I understand the context of what is in front of me. Number 4, make sure your art translates to social media content. Now, what I mean by this is there's plenty of things that you can do as an artist which are fantastic, but it doesn't necessarily mean it's going to hit home in the vehicle that is social media content. So what we've got here is we've got the action versus the vehicle. I'll give you a different example. Right? Imagine this. You go and see an acoustic artist, maybe Damian Keyes, for example, and he walks up to the front of the stage, he unplugs his guitar, and he spends 20 or 30 seconds just looking around, and we're all watching him, wondering what he's going to do. And he's just unplugged his guitar. And then after that, he just very quietly starts strumming his guitar, and we can just about make the sound out, but it's just so quiet in the whole place. And then he's noodling and improvising a little bit, and we're just watching going, wow, this is amazing. Being in that moment in this big venue with this amazing acoustic artist, and then he goes into his big song, and we go, oh, that was amazing. Absolutely translates. But you take that exact example and you put it on radio, it's nonsense. All of a sudden, I'm like, is my radio working? Why is he standing there for 20 seconds? What's going on? Why is he unplugged his guitar? I can't hear it properly. Like, it's the right action, but the wrong vehicle. Now, people do this with social media all the time. And an example of that would be black and white pictures or black and white videos. It's very arty. It really, really works in the context of the art. Does it work on social media when I'm scrolling up and I'm seeing puppies and bikes and everything? No, it doesn't work, because all of a sudden, all it comes across as is a dull emotion. I'm not seeing what I need. It's not quick enough to capture my attention, so I've already gone. And that's not me. That's just the way it works. So you'll see that a lot of black and white content doesn't do as well as color. And if anyone says, oh, actually, I have so-and-so makes great black and white content, I would say it's probably phenomenal. It has to be 100% better than a standard color piece of content, because people are just captured their imagination in the first few seconds. I find the same thing with music videos. If you take a music video that works on MTV and you try and crowbar that into Instagram Reels or TikTok, usually it doesn't work. Not always, but on the whole, it's not going to get the same vibe. Why? It doesn't have the context. It doesn't seem to fit. It's the art, which is the right art, the right action, but in the wrong vehicle, in the wrong place. Number 5, understand the balance between art and discovery. Now, when it comes to your music, I understand you're passionate about it and it is your art. But like we said before, when it comes to social media, we do have to get the discovery. Now, think of it like this. Take a Venn diagram, and on one side, you have art. And on the other side, you have discovery. Now, it's very easy to make art that nobody cares about or no one sees because it has no virality. In the same vein as, whilst it's not as easy, it is quite easy to go viral. But to go viral for the art is the little bit in the middle, where you have got the right amount of art and the right amount of virality or discovery. Now, that's what everyone is aiming for, and that's the toughest thing to do. Going viral, relatively easy. Making art, relatively easy. Going viral for your art, that is the sweet spot. So what this means is you're probably treading a line between the two. Yes, you want to push your art, but you're probably going to have to wrap this up in a way that people understand. And that's why when I say things like, send this to an ex, and people go, I hate that stuff. And I'm like, I know, but we do have to wrap this up in a way that works for that social media platform. So we're trying to get the best of both worlds. We are trying to push you and your art, but we're trying to wrap this up in a way that the platform understands from a discovery point of view. Number 6, as I inferred to earlier, you are the superhero. Now, if we take Superman and Clark Kent, the one thing you notice is everyone cares about Superman. He's like the most powerful human in the galaxy. He can shoot lasers out of his eyes. He can fly. Clark Kent, nobody gives a shit. Like, nobody cares about Clark Kent. So if Superman's got an Instagram channel and he starts putting himself as Clark Kent, everyone's like, no, I don't care about that. Please, can you just be Superman? Do the Superman stuff. We want to see you zipping around, saving people's lives, all of the cool stuff, throwing trains, whatever you can do. That's the bit. And so many artists have this 80-20 rule where they can sort of lean into being Superman, but most of their socials are Clark Kent. The problem is look outside the window. You'll see thousands of Clark Kents. Nobody cares. Nobody is going, God, that's aspirational. And I understand the balance, but right now, at this point, it's the Superman aspect that's going to get you the traction. So therefore, in your socials, in fact, in your life, you have to be Superman. This means when you're making pieces of content, if you're making it in your bedroom and there's socks on the floor, that's Clark Kent. That isn't Superman. If you're outside in this really awesome view and the sun's coming down and you're walking towards the camera and you look slick, that's Superman. In trying to promote your music, you are the artist, you are the superhero, and you have to represent that demographic. So therefore, when it comes to the 80-20 rule, the reality is 80% of the time, you need to be the superhero. You need to be Superman. 20%, you can get away with a little bit of Clark Kent. But most people have flipped it around, and there's too much boring, there's too much behind the scenes. And I'm like, don't give me behind the scenes. Give me the thing. I want to see the thing. If I'm watching a Batman film, I'm not looking at it kind of going, it's Christian Bale acting as Batman. I'm like, no, I want to be in the moment. I want to be with Batman. That's the bit. That's why you're the superhero. So behind the scenes every so often is fine, but only if you've shown off enough Superman. Number 7 is to infer payoff, or to make people think that there is something coming. We are judged by our watch time, whether we like it or not. The more watch time we get, the more data comes in, the more it's figured out who to send this to, and your content will go to more people. If we want more numbers, we need more watch time. Therefore, we do have to play the system. Now, if you are inferring that something is coming up, and I'm not talking about just going, wait until the end to find out what happens. I mean, that is inferring payoff, but it's to the nth degree. But if something is inferring that something is about to happen, then we will stick around. Think of it. I'm watching a TikTok and some dude is on a BMX and he does a jump and he's doing a grind rail down some steps. And I'm like, where's he going to fall off and die? Or is he going to make it? Well, now I have to watch for 5, 6, 7 seconds to find out. And then he lands it and I go, oh, he made it. And off I go. So I've given you an extra 5, 6, 7 seconds because I'm like, what's about to happen? Now, you can do this in several ways. You could use it via text on a screen, or you could even speak to camera. Imagine if you say something like, do you have a toxic ex? Maybe you can relate to this. Now people are going to go, well, now I have to listen because I do have a toxic ex, and therefore I have to listen to the song to figure out whether I can relate to it. You've inferred that people need to stick around in order to get the payoff, and therefore they can make that decision. But even smarter than that, you don't necessarily have to say anything. You can use it with your actions. Imagine this, right? The TikTok or Instagram starts and someone walks into screen like pushing an amp or with a guitar on. And you're like, where are they going with that? And then what happens is they put a microphone in front of them, they walk up to the mic, they plug in the guitar. This might take 5, 6, 7 seconds, but I'm now watching going, what's going to happen? What is going to happen? I'm not sure. And then the song starts. Instead of what most people are doing, which is just like TikTok starts, bang, I'm straight in with the chorus. Instead, it's like something's about to happen and I'm taking you with me. So I'm like, all right, I'll give you a couple of seconds to see what this is. That is inferring that there will be a payoff. Stick with me, something is coming. Number 8, narrative over musical hooks. Now, I understand you're a musician, you're an artist, it's your song. So therefore, from a context point of view, your song goes intro, verse, chorus. Therefore, it's tension and release. The verse usually tells a story, paints a picture, has some kind of tension, and then it opens up in the chorus and gives it a bit more of a release. So if we make a piece of content where we go straight into the chorus, not only have we lost that tension and release, we've lost that context, but also we've probably got more of a musical hook, but less of a narrative. Now, we find a lot of the time that the verses do better than the choruses, even though the chorus is the obvious winner. The chorus is the big payoff. But this is TikTok, this is Instagram, this is content. And so therefore, the narrative plays a big part. So whilst I want you to experiment with verses and chorus, on the whole, people are driven by emotion, they're driven by storytelling, and therefore the lyrics and subject matter of a verse normally hit home in a certain way. Now, If you're saying, well, I want to do a bit of both, then you have to remember that the chorus probably doesn't have the same narrative, not always, but it doesn't have the same narrative as a verse. So what can you do? Well, you can add in the narrative. If it was tension and release, if it was painting a picture and then the payoff, you can add in the context or the narrative via text into the chorus. So the verse might be self-explanatory and it might have a hook written across the screen, whereas the chorus, you might say, let me add in the extra hook. Let me add in that context so that people understand that it has got that tension and release. The weird thing about lyrics and subject matter is you might find that it's a bridge or a midlay or an outro that actually really pushes your track. Why? Because there's something in it from an emotional connection, from lyrics, from subject matter that people connect with, that people resonate with. So don't just pick a chorus and just say it's the chorus, we've got to push the most important part of the song. That's Radioland. What we're trying to do here is we are trying to resonate with people on an emotion, narrative-based storytelling level. Number 9, SEO finds the audience. Let me ask you a question. You make a piece of content. You might make 3 a day for 30 days. How does the platform know who to push that out to? There's 8.5 billion people in the world. There's 1 billion people on social media right now. How does the platform know which 200, 300, 400 people to test this in front of? Or are you just guessing? Are you just saying, don't know, figure it out? Because the platform is good. The algorithm is good. It's not that good. Like if you are stuck in 200 or 300 view prison in jail where you're going, I can't seem to get out of this 200 views. Well, it's probably because it doesn't understand who your audience is. So it's testing, it's not getting enough data back, and then it's giving up. And so if you're doing that time and time again, not only are you feeding in bad data, but also you're not helping the platform understand. Now, the way you do this is with the SEO, search engine optimization. There's a few ways of doing this. Number 1, what you say. If you say something at the beginning, if you say, hi, my name's Damian and I'm a brand new Welsh metal singer, then part of that SEO is going to be featured because the AI is starting to understand what you say. Now, if you write things in the text where you just say, hi, I'm Damian, I'm I'm an EDM artist, then that SEO is gonna stand for something. If you do the same thing in the description, if you put the same thing in hashtags, all of a sudden we are painting a picture. We're saying to the platform, I get it, you don't know who I am. So therefore, let me give you some information that may help. Now, it doesn't help every single time, but we're giving it every opportunity to find the right people, because TikTok, for example, is just going, where do I put this? Where do I put this? I don't know. I'll throw it out there to 200 people, and that includes 15-year-old girls, 60-year-old men. It includes people in America. It includes people in your area. And everyone's got different connection points. Everyone's got different hobbies. Everyone's got different styles. Everyone's got different likes. And so it's not getting any information back. Whereas if TikTok says, I don't know who to put this. Oh, wait a minute. Oh, you're a country artist in Nashville. Oh, well, that's a lot easier. And then it's going to pick the right 200 people, get the right data back, and that's how something flies. So if you're stuck in 200 view jail, you need to concentrate on this aspect. You need to feed the right data. And don't forget, data is not only stored in the audio, it's also stored in the platform, which is why if you go get 1 million views on a piece of content, the next piece of content is going to be shown to a bunch of people. So therefore, make sure, if you ever do go viral, make sure the next piece of content is relevant to you and your story and your music and your talent. And number 10, look after people in the comments. If you are building from scratch, then this is a free meal when you are starving. This is an opportunity. If someone genuinely comes along and leaves a comment and you put a thumbs up or you say thanks, you have just missed out on a huge opportunity. Now, how do you look after people? Well, you talk to people in the comments. And there's things that you can do. Number 1, instead of just saying thanks, you can start a conversation. You can ask a question. Oh, thanks. I really appreciate this. Where are you from? What music are you into? You're starting a conversation. You don't have to make it creepy. The other thing you can do is you can take that comment and you can make your next piece of content around that comment. So therefore, you're rewarding that person and you're showing that people are starting to comment, so other people might comment as well. When it comes to the comments, this is the bit where you can actually build a fan base, because people will see you, they'll discover you, they might even like you, but when they start interacting and you're interacting back, that's where you push them down the line from not knowing who you are or just starting to figure out who you are into, I really like you, I'm going to come back time and time again because I feel like I've connected with you. Now, a couple of weeks ago, I was talking to an artist and they said, well, what happens if I'm getting 100 comments a day? And I said, Are you getting 100 comments a day? And he said, no, but I'm just thinking in the future. When you get 100 comments a day, no one's expecting you to comment back to everybody, but we have to be able to get there. So what happens if you get 1 comment a day or 2? Who's got time for that? You've got time for that. That's the most important thing. If you've got 2 comments to do a day, not going to take up much time. You can have your notifications on and you can look after people. So this makes a huge difference. This is where you can take 1 fan into 2, into 5, into 100, into 1,000. Good quality content with good value multiplied by looking after people, genuinely looking after them. That's how you build not just a community, but an army. So for me, I think the big thing here is stop using social media to promote music and start using social media to build you as a superhero, to build your brand. The music will take care of itself. People will go to Spotify. That's an outcome. People will be like, hey, I really like your new song because I've been watching you on socials and I've been getting value. Maybe I'm going to go listen to your song. But if we're forcing that narrative, people aren't getting enough value. So yes, people will go and listen to your music because of your social media. But your job is to use social media to look after people, to give people the narrative, the story, the value. If you can do that, the music will take care of itself. Let me know what you think in the comments below, and I'll see you again soon.